Chapter 3. From Push to Shove. The return to my parents in the city turned out to be a series of more traumatizing experiences for me. After only a 5-month absence, I found that our dream compound had been razed, while my father, who was hospitalized in a coma, was fighting the deadly effects of poisoning. Later on, he lost his prestigious job position. All he had left were his 10 children. Prior to these events, there had been trouble between him and my mother, and they were separated. Thank God my father did not die this time, but we became poor overnight. Very poor. The fact that my father was still alive, however, kept me happy. My mother also frequently visited us, and I visited her and my other siblings when she was living in town. The presence of both parents is necessary for the emotional and psychological balance of children, and especially of teenagers. The vacuum left by the absence of my mother, who had not taught me how to defend myself against the attacks from human predators, had probably contributed to it. The demons of rape had broken loose against me. Although I managed to defeat some would-be rapists in the city, I was still raped again and again over the following years. I conceived my 2 sons from rapes perpetrated by 2 different men. The first pregnancy occurred when I was 15 years old, at a time when a young woman does not fully understand the changes of her body. I met this 25-year-old man at a female neighbor's. 1 week or so later, as I was going to the movies in the afternoon, I bumped into the same man in the street. I recognized him and greeted him the way as I had always greeted any acquaintance in the street. He insisted that I should go see his house just a couple of steps behind the one by the street. The next thing I knew, I was locked in his room. He raped me. I got pregnant, and my life turned into a living nightmare. My father was heartbroken and sued the man for statutory rape. Cameroonian law stipulates that this is a crime and liable to at least 10 years of imprisonment. However, the legal battle was short-circuited because the man bribed the investigators, who took me to the police station without my parents. I was forced to sign all papers under threats of harm. The truth is, I was frightened, and I did not even read what I was made to sign. The statement said that I disavowed my father in the name of the love that I supposedly had for this man, the rapist. When my father read it, he became so angry he almost lost his mind. It broke my heart to see him so heartbroken and disappointed because of me. He felt betrayed, and I can understand that. All I could do was tell him that they had made me sign things that I did not say or know. My mother, despite her disappointment, made great sacrifices to be able to be of assistance. She was determined to take an additional step to give me another chance. She returned to live with us just days before the childbirth, without which both my son and I would have certainly died. The second pregnancy occurred approximately a year later. For a few months, I had believed in a friendly relationship with the man who sired my second child. An apparently pleasant and caring man at the beginning, he helped me by buying drugs for my first child and an occasional little pocket money, without insisting on having sex with me first. When this new chapter opened in our relationship, he could not understand that I was frigid and interpreted my cold attitude toward sex as not liking him. I subsequently decided to let him use my body, just to discover a few months later that he had infected me with an STD. I was annoyed with him and broke up our relationship. A few months after our breakup, he saw me in the company of one of my teachers who had helped me to pay for the medical bills resulting from my infection. He thought he was entitled to feel jealous in the name of our past relationship. I held firm. He then proposed a friendly reconciliation. I easily fell in the trap, thinking that there would be no harm to a friends-only type of relationship. I dropped my guard. I was wrong. He invited me to his place for the Easter day. Although he was initially with many friends of his, within minutes and in a well-orchestrated way, I found myself with him alone. Raping me was so easy to him. There the pieces of my broken life that I was trying to mend were now reduced to dust. All hope of ever having a normal woman's life was gone. My sense of hopeless loss and brokenness would be hard to describe. I knew I was going to get pregnant, but did not know what to do or whom to talk to. My second pregnancy plunged me into despair. I had become skeletal in appearance, having more bone than flesh. My stomach rejected everything I ate or swallowed, including my saliva. I lost more than 66 pounds within 3 weeks. Nobody knew or guessed that I was once again pregnant. My mother suspected witchcraft. I cannot explain the circumstances that had pushed my father to remain so cold, but I understand that his reasoning and knowledge did not equip him spiritually or psychologically to prevent or help with my situation. As a young, unwed mother of 2 with no education, it did indeed seem like I had no future. I was financially stripped. I was a failure and became a de facto lower-class woman. However, although disappointed, my parents did not cease to love me. They continued to express their love and affection to me as much as they could.